everyone, and welcome to the Monster Report Live, a show here on YouTube. The Monster Report's a show highlighting those entertaining creatures of film history. I am your host, Nick Adam, and I am joined by my brother, Denver.
Hey.
Denver, good to have you.
Good to be here, bud.
And we've had Denver on talk about the invasion of the Body Snatchers, which was a fun show.
Yes.
Yeah. And, of course, we're of a generation, which the show is sort of called Talking About My Generation. So we'll be talking about some retrospectives of retro gaming of our generation. We also have, guys, and I've got another camera there. It's on, buddy. You can wave. Producer Eli. Show off your T-shirt, Eli. We made some.
Wearing it too.
Yeah, we made some fun Godzilla Monster of Monsters Monster Report versions of the video game T-shirts there with the cricket, and he'll be bringing up some games on the Wii there, actually some ROMs of the NES games. And yeah, Denver's got his, and let's bring in our special guest live and in person from the bargain basement of the airwaves. It's Zillafan85, and he's got a shirt too.
How you doing?
We are representing tonight. I am Zillafan85, but of course I am Team Monster Report tonight. Very happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, so glad to have you.
Good to have you.
Yep.
And yeah, I was sweating bullets there like I normally do when I was shipping out Michael a little gift, which was the shirt. And I hope it was a pleasant surprise for you.
Absolutely. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, I definitely owe you one. So
No.
Maybe if I ever get Zillafan85 shirts, I'll send you guys some.
I'll take one of those. I will.
Okay.
Michael just surpassed 200 episodes, probably 200 plus by now.
Still at the 200. I usually only put stuff out normally every couple weeks or so. So we'll sit on that mountaintop for a little bit before I get a new video out there. But I do have stuff planned. So
excellent. Looking forward to seeing what you come up with, and glad to help you any way I can. I love content creators. I love kaiju content creators, and I love talking about stuff from our childhood, retro games, and that is the topic of today's live stream. So if you're in the chat, make sure that you comment, ask us anything about the games we grew up with that formed our childhood, and just let us know kind of some of the things that maybe we might have forgotten about and we can bring up in conversation. What are some of your favorite games, game consoles, accessories, things that happened culturally in the world during that time that's related to the games we grew up with?
And the one I'm playing right now.
We've got many generations here represented. Of course, Eli guy over there, producer Eli, he's got the Wii playing TMNT. So
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The original NES. And I'm sure he's having a heck of a time with that because it is not the easiest game, but we will get to TMNT because I know that's a topic near and dear to Michael's heart.
I'm actually getting a hang of it. Yes.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I've even got Denver over here playing my old Atari 7800. And let's kind of talk about going way back. Of course, also, I keep forgetting this. Eli, producer Eli, what are they supposed to do? You are on screen, my friend.
Like, subscribe, comment down below. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X.
I don't have the video transition.
I know,
sorry.
I know.
Yes, of course. All of those great YouTube things that you've got going on. I'm going to post actually later what I've done to this studio space that is down here at Monster HQ. I've got wires all over the floor. I've got game consoles over here. It's wired like my old TV station that Denver and I grew up with in our old high school called Kiss TV.
Kiss TV.
Yeah, where we had everything was analog. It was just that world. Cameras, lighting, big lights, not like the lights we have these days. Those lights will burn you up, and you had this space that was air conditioned 24/7, 365 because everything put out so much heat, and we just had all kinds of fun going through that kind of a TV and radio program. So I felt like that a bit, setting up analog to digital setups
Yeah,
here.
the only thing you're missing really is like an 8-track player.
Okay,
Yeah, because
I don't have one of those.
Because when I was in KISS, the carts we used to play 8-track singles.
Yeah, because it was also
Oh,
a
this
radio
thing's
station
right
as
out.
well.
Right.
So you got to learn the principles of radio on carts, and then of course later we got into the cassettes and CDs. Then they got into digital. Of course, now it's easy. It's a mouse click. Want to play that
It's
song?
so much easier now. So much easier. I don't know what I don't know what everybody's complaining about.
Yeah, I know. So much easier.
I mean, we had vinyl records. We had to find the exact spot.
Right. But vinyl had a comeback. Vinyl
I love vinyl.
Yeah, just ask our good friend Everett about vinyl. He likes them.
That's right. Yeah, Everett got himself that sweet Waxworks recently going up. Everett, good to have you in the chat. Godzilla Fan Freaks T-shirt. Yes.
Hey Everett, how's it going, buddy? Miss you, man.
We will
See you too, Fan Freaks.
We will take a few of those if you manufacture them. If you build them, we will come. So yeah, let's go way back. I mean, obviously there's been video games preceding us. I mean, some people said the first kind of video game was I've heard called the radar scope. It was just someone who had a old radar setup actually for the military, and they changed the application of the radar screen to play basically an early version of
insane.
Pong.
Oh,
which yeah,
I'm old enough to remember Pong.
and everything
grandparents had Pong.
And a Pong console, right, to play at home. Yep. And it was like, I mean, there were so many Pong consoles, but was this the official, actual, like
that?
I don't know,
dude. It was like 78. So
I don't know, because there was a lot of knockoffs. Anyone could make a Pong console, because there was no copyright on the game Pong, because it's essentially a couple of pixels on the screen.
No, exactly.
So no one was thinking, I want to own the copyright to this paddle game. But, then we had the Atari systems. But what was probably the first earliest memory of video gaming, whether at home or, going to a restaurant or whatever, and they had an arcade? What would probably be your earliest memory?
The earliest memory that the kids across the street had a 2600.
Mm-hmm.
But they also had they had everything. They had a Commodore 64, which I'm sure you can't find.
There is a few out there if they work.
Yeah. But I mean, the great 8-bit graphics like that we're so used to.
Yeah.
That, it's still fun to play. But I mean, after you've played like PS5 and everything like that, you're like, how far have we come?
Yeah. And I will give you a little anecdote because, the Commodore 64, it was a computer, a personal computer.
Yeah, it was a PC.
Yeah, we had them as the first kind of digital switcher in KISS TV was called the video toaster.
Yes.
Built into the Commodore.
Toaster, man.
Yeah, and you would do, old TV screens like I've got kind of set up here. It's like, you could do transitions, and it had some really fun text tools to do, especially for like basketball games. We like to play with that a lot. For our high school basketball, but the Commodore, obviously, you could install games on it.
Yeah.
But when I worked for my other public TV station, WCTV, we did use for text tools on screen. It was getting into the digital age, but while the analog age was dying, let's say, it was the case of we used it for the font tools. But it was a Commodore computer, a very small one actually. And it was able to hook up to a VGA monitor, not like an HDMI monitor. But the old man that I work with, John Shurman, if you're still out there and still with us, he was the one and only man who had his Commodore signed by the Commodores, the band.
Oh, too cool.
Oh, wow.
One and only Commodores, actually. And he's like, because they told him, we have never signed a Commodore 64 computer. So this is a first. Yeah. But so the Commodore, you had different disc-based games.
Yeah.
There was no mouse, I don't think, or was there?
No.
Keyboard.
No. Yeah, it was all keyboard. Yep. And very difficult unless you were used to it. And like early PC gaming was not like it is.
Yeah.
Not like it is now.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, and I do remember, was it a green screen? Or was it it was black and white?
It was black and white.
Black and white. because the Apple IIe early ones were green, and we had a few games on that we could play.
Right.
Yeah.
And you could program it really easy. You could
Make
program
your
it
own
to do.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna say something there, Michael.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do remember when I was a kid, sometimes when I would go like with my parents over to their friends' houses, and I remember playing like on computer kind of setups. I don't know for sure if it was a Commodore or not, but I remember those kind of games where everything had to be inputs had to be based on keyboard. Because I remember specifically there was like this battle tank game that I was playing, and everything had to be done through the keyboard, the controls, firing out the cannon, and it was tough doing it, to be honest.
Was it a first person perspective battle tank game? No. It was what?
It was a third person.
So was it like a landscape? I remember. Yes. Okay, I may have played this game. I may have. Yeah, we may have played this game together at this point, because I remember a landscape. You had your tanks, the enemy's tanks. You had different weapons you could select from. There was maybe wind that was a variation when you shot it. You could accidentally shoot yourself, I think. Like if you didn't think through your firing pattern. I think we may have played the same game. There was a few I remember. One was called Scorched Earth, and the other, I cannot remember if it was just called Battle Tank. It might have been. But
the really creative titles to things.
Yeah, I know.
But, yeah. But getting back to the Apple IIe, I mean, I remember the first time that Mom brought back, because she was a teacher, so she brought the IIe during summer break. And man, did we play! There was a game called Load Runner on that.
Yes.
Which was tons of fun. It's almost like Dig Dug, but you just dug holes, and then the people that were following you fell in the hole, and then they just got crushed by and the iconic Oregon Trail.
Yes, Oregon Trail. How many times did I die of dysentery?
Everybody dies of dysentery. You don't get any.
Oh man!
All I loved to do was hunt.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do hardly anything else. I wanted to hunt. Yeah. We played that in school a lot. And, when you get a break, if you could finish your assignments soon enough and there was some extra time, we'd play the Oregon Trail because that was the one to do. Yeah. Eli's got a comment.
Gradius, can you use the Onami code in it? I forgot.
Oh, Gradius?
Yeah.
Is it Konami?
Yeah, that's a common Konami game. You can use the Konami code in it. Yep. Up, down, left, right. BA. Start, and he's playing now. I would play Eli. Hold up the controller. Show the camera your controller. That is the Wii 64 style controller. But with this, I would actually recommend unplugging it from the Wiimote and just using the Wiimote itself. I find it's a little easier for the NES games playing on ROM. We've got a lot of these ROMs downloaded on the Wii so that he can just select and not have to blow dust out of carts. They don't know. Okay. What are you doing? You're trying with that controller? Yeah. Like I said, the mapping on those are tough. So what I do is unplug it from your Wiimote. Okay.
Do the Onami code.
And you have to go. No. Hold it left. Like a
controller.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
And then you can get all weapons with the Konami code here.
Up, down, left, right, and then
BA, which is 2-1, I think, on the controller.
Oh.
Yeah, which is your equivalent of BA on the controller.
Oh, it works.
And it works, so I will transition if I can get in.
Oh, it works.
Yep, there he's got all weapons, and he's blasting away. That music in some of these NES games, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I just What's that again?
I said it's iconic, the music.
No.
I will want to talk about music when it comes to some of these games, because there is some that have been remixed and people just Mega Man 2, DuckTales, just a few that comes to mind that you just never forget. Mm-hmm. But so the Apple IIe, the Load Runner, I remember we called the bad guys, Troy and I called them the Zoots, because
that's what happened when they perished.
Yes, yeah. They fell into the box. They fell into the hole you dug, would fill in, and they'd go zoop. Or was it when they hit you? I don't remember. They made that sound effect.
Yeah. I think that's when they perished, but
might have been. Yeah.
When you got hit by him, I think that you went, oh.
And we had some other games. There was a Montezuma's Revenge on the Apple IIe.
Yeah.
There was a battle tank first person.
Funnels and buckets.
Funnels and buckets, yes.
Please, we're on laser.
Educational game, maybe,
yes.
I think. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. And all again, keyboard and disc based.
Yeah.
Yeah, floppy disk based. And
but the actual PC that we had was a brother.
Okay.
Yeah. The mom brought home the 2E from school.
Yeah.
But we actually had a brother.
Computer at home.
That ran off of cassette tape. So all of your memory went on a cassette tape.
Oh man! Wow.
Yeah.
And if it was, we only can try it once, buddy. Yeah. Eli wants to do the Konami code multiple times.
Happens once, bro.
Yeah. It only works the one time. Then you got to reset the game. He's gonna go postal on us in a minute.
Settle down, buddy.
I will say this, and Michael and I talked about this before. I think the going quote that needs to be when it comes to retro games is they're not for the faint of heart. They will kill you.
Who said? Was that that place in Greenville where we went? The retro.
Parker's.
Yes,
Parker's. If he's in the chat, Parker. Matthew Parker.
We were talking about Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
That's right. Yeah.
For the NES, and I said I played that and got so frustrated. There was actually a dent in the drywall beside me.
Controller corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those controllers could take a beating.
They could.
Yeah, they could. They were made well back then, though. I think the ones today are a little bit more flimsy than the ones.
Oh, guaranteed.
I think the one of the, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think one of the best game overs ever has to be the Friday the 13th NES game where you and your friends are dead. Game over.
Congratulations.
That game in and of itself, the music in that is that's spooky.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It is
really good.
And I love that we even at Parker's, again, shout out to Parker's. They had that the NES NECA Jason figure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was colored and pixelated looking like the NES game. And it had the iconic NES cover and even the wear and tear that the corners would get to make it look retro, which they did that with Godzilla NECA, the Monster of Monsters. That box was sweet. And of course, that's obviously what I modeled our t-shirts after. So we're not going to be selling these. These. You guys have got collector's items there because they are unlicensed.
Yes.
Like I said, it makes us members of your team now. So.
That's right. Definitely. And then we'll take it with him to Hawaii if we get him on a stream from Hawaii in that time zone.
If I could figure
maybe we can go with him to Hawaii. What do you guys think?
He's trying to get out.
I'm trying to get back, and the weather's just not cooperating. But you know what? It's good that one more day. It's all good with me.
We get another day with Denver.
Yep.
Yeah, isn't that right? Uncle Denver's staying with us another day. Eli guy, he's locked in.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
I'm like Iron Sword.
Iron Sword. Oh man.
But the name of my knight is Sir Eli, without a space.
Eli. That is a hard game too.
Yeah. What? What did I do?
Name me too many retro games that are actually easy. I mean, other than Kirby.
Hey, but that's my favorite.
I know, but Kirby's easy for a good reason.
That's my daughter's favorite too.
Yeah. Really?
Yep.
Who did that?
Kirby's
you think we should let Eli play Battletoads?
Oh my goodness. I should get
robbed. Oh, I've heard Battletoads.
Battletoads is fun.
It's like
very hard, but I love that game. Yes.
I've heard of it. I've seen a strategy guide over it.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
All right. Yeah. Let's kind of get us to the days of Atari with home consoles. PC. Yeah. We had that. You grew up with the Magnavox Odyssey. I did.
It was an Odyssey 2. So the actual Odyssey 1, I wasn't really sure how
I forgot about this
it worked, but apparently there was like a piece of like plastic that you put over the screen.
Right. Yes.
And then
and they were all essentially glorified
I forgot
Kong
about this
of
game.
some form, but the paddle could do different things. It could reshape, and then the screen overlay that you put on there, you were interacting with that. There was even a haunted house one. You remember the AVGN, Michael, on the Magnavox, and he's trying to make that work. And you could actually have the overlay over the screen and play haunted house. And it's like, okay, there's a overlay of a haunted house, and then I guess your paddle could peek out the windows of the house or through the door, and it's like, this is fun.
But we had the Odyssey 2, which was a lot of fun, and the same 8-bit graphics. It's just like the Atari.
Mm-hmm.
I like the controller a little bit better with the Odyssey 2 than the initial Atari controller.
Yeah.
But yeah, the games, I mean, they weren't interchangeable, but they were basically the same type of games.
I think I have
just not as many. Yeah, there's the
Atari, actual 2600.
Oh my gosh,
the joystick,
forever. But see, these are a little stiff where the Odysseys were. You have more range of movement.
Solo, so you can show that controller off. But the one button you only needed. You only needed the one button.
You only need one button there.
So I'm not familiar. Was the Odyssey, did that use a joystick like the Atari did?
It did. It did. It was basically the same thing. It had the box here, but you had more range of movement with the actual joystick. And then the button was up in the upper right-hand corner. That's about it. Yeah, that was about it.
I was going to say, for left-handed, you might have trouble, but actually, I wonder. Yeah, because you would be controlling with your joystick with the left hand. Yeah. And hit the button. So it might be. I don't know.
Maybe that's why, because I always use my left hand.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Growing up with it, I guess.
Yeah.
And now, with us grown up and our hands being larger, I have tried playing with this. I actually have used the Sega controller. Works on the Atari perfectly fine. And so the D-pad and any of the three buttons, I think, is this button. But it's the same adapter. So you could just plug a Sega controller into it and use that instead of.
That's a pretty cool hack there.
Yeah, it works. They use the exact same port right there. But when you get, older and your hands are you realize how this was built for the little hands out there. So all right, we've got Parker's Imaginarium here watching on Facebook. For some reason, YouTube won't be allowed to leave a comment, but that's okay. You're here. Oh. Lola's
here.
Lola is on in the chat.
Hey, Lola.
Hi, sweetie.
See me?
Yeah, let me.
Lola's my daughter.
Oh, hi, Lola.
Yep, she's joining us from actual Hawaii. And Eli, wave to the camera at Lola. The camera. Yeah, there you go.
The camera.
Oh, good to have you. Always good to have you. And Lola, she's been here to visit us, the family here in the States. Got to see how cold it gets.
Well, Hawaii is a state.
Yes, sorry, in the mainland.
In the mainland, yes.
And she's working and crying. So good to have you regardless. I won't say get back to work if you're slacking.
She's not slacking.
Nah.
Not Lola.
We're slacking here though.
Yes, we are. Yeah. Definitely slacking.
We've got retro games going on, so it's lots of fun. He's playing Darkwing.
I think I'm gonna jump on one real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll take it with the NES kind of era of things, actually, Michael. With like I told you Earl off the air, was I started with the Atari 7800, which I loved because it could play the 2600 and its 7800 games, which were slightly more advanced by far, but they were a lot of fun. But it was what we could afford at the time until the days of the original NES with Duck Hunt and Mario. And I still have from my childhood, this is actual Zapper gun from my original NES that I still keep because I just can't get rid of anything sometimes. But this collection room is a testament to that anyways. But I always loved that sound.
Oh yeah.
And that spring that spring still works.
So
A lot of the
isn't this
times.
like the same blaster from the cartoon series of Captain D?
Captain D, the
Hey.
Game Master, yes,
Yeah.
was a cartoon made by Nintendo, I think. It was at Deke Entertainment, I think, who also made the Mario cartoon with the Mario rap. So, anyways, yeah, this was always fun. I think it came in all two colors of this red, orange, or gray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was.
I think the first generation of it was a straight gray with like black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little darker gray and gray. Yeah, and it was like, but then, this one's actually copyright in 1985. But I don't know, the
Copyrights, yeah.
is what it is. So, yeah, that's where we are with that. I'll pull out a solo here. And tell me, Michael, a little about, your first NES and, how that came to you and the story behind that.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty interesting little tidbit. And I do have that same zapper gun, by the way. I should have grabbed it. I have it boxed up right now. I apologize. But I do have handy the box. My Nintendo itself is hooked up to my TV right now, so I'm not gonna be able to physically grab it. But I do, because I use it for storage for old figures and whatnot.
Oh my goodness!
Have the box that it came with, the challenge set box.
Oh yeah,
as you guys can see. So
nice.
It came with Super Mario 3 and 2
That's
controls.
the one. Yep.
Yeah.
Man, I remember that one when the year it came out. I think we got it like years later.
Yes, later. Yeah, we were still sporting the Atari, but that challenge set, and starting with Mario 3. And did you also have any other games that you started with?
Yeah. So I got that. Like you and I were discussing before, I think I got that in 1991, I believe. If I'm correct on the year, I apologize. It was a long time ago. But I remember specifically because obviously Super Mario Brothers 3, which again I have it right here with me. So it came out actually in 1988 in Japan, but we didn't get it until 2 years later in 1990 here in the States. Obviously, the in-between was the, which some people call it a big commercial for Super Mario Brothers 3, was, of course, the movie The Wizard, as we had discussed before. So, and I wish we could play that little clip of the announcer guy yelling Super Mario Brothers 3. But, but, so I got this, and because my grandmother had gotten me the console, and like I was telling you, it was a little bit of a hot topic here because the SNES, the Super Nintendo, was at least about to release at this time. And if I'm remembering correctly back then, my parents wanted to get me the Super Nintendo, but my grandmother ended up getting me the Nintendo. So I know my parents weren't super happy about it, but I mean, I'm not going to complain. In hindsight, obviously, I love the NES. So she got me the challenge set, which came with Super Mario Brothers 3, but as a secondary game, she also got me the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which that game came out in 1989. I know it's hit and miss for some people because it is known as a pretty difficult game. I could never beat it as a kid. It wasn't until I was an adult where I could actually finally make it through the game because it is challenging. But a lot of fond memories. Both of those games are in. I mean, Super Mario Brothers 3 is the pinnacle. It's my all-time favorite video game.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you. We are brothers in that way because it is so fun and it's so replayable.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, you could plug it in. You could do, hacks or because there's a lot of speedrunners like to play through that game. I'm more of a completionist kind of guy where I like to play through and complete as much as I can. So like even I'll collect all the warp whistles when I play the game, but I won't actually use them. I'll just keep them as like, this is part of my collection, a long way. Just like when you get like the secret items from like the white toad houses, like the anchors and and the P-wings. Even I try not to use the P-wings unless I have to. So
Right.
yeah, but just a lot of obviously fond memories of that. And like I said, Ninja Turtles as well is still in my top 10. I actually, I liked it the best out of all the Turtles games, even though I know like some of the later ones that came out, especially like, later on Turtles in Time's a fan favorite and whatnot. And of course the arcade game, but I always liked the more platformer action style of the first game. That's more my cup of tea. So
Yeah.
But and then of course we remember, speaking of AVGN, that was my first introduction to YouTube because I went on here and saw him playing the game. That was my first experience with YouTube and with him. So just some fond memories of that. But just the Nintendo, like I said, ever since I was super young, 6 years old, it's been a big part of my life growing up and still is. So.
Well, and that's a great pairing there. It is, you can find yourself kind of getting frustrated with a game sometimes, and you have to switch over, to another one. And if you're just, playing Mario 3, I could see someone easily getting burned out. There's one thing about that they got right in the later Mario games was replaying a stage, because you couldn't do that in Mario 3 if you were like, oh, I missed a secret there or a whatever, an extra, suit or power up that I knew was in a warp zone, or not a warp zone, in a pipe somewhere, and I really wanted that. So it was like I really want to replay that stage, and unless I die in the stage, and before I complete it, I'm not going to be able to. He's playing Pole Position over here on the 7800. So
Pole Position 2.
Pole Position 2. Okay.
Wow.
That one had a great commercial too, I remember.
It's 10-bit graphics.
10. It's all 10?
All 10.
We'll catch up with the chat here. Apparently now, and I've seen a couple of chats here, Sven Gulies is playing Godzilla vs. Monster Zero with the iconic Nick Adams and Akira Takarada. My dad, Nick Adams. My long lost father that I didn't know I had, and passed away before I was born. Yeah. I'll be okay. Yeah.
Everything's good.
Oh, but shout out to Sven Guli, Godzilla fan freaks. Everett, I'm not doing vintage, but I'm playing video games right now. Tekken.
Yeah.
She's listening to us. Yeah. Go back to Parker's. Oh, I lost you. There you go. Godzilla. Yeah, he's watching Godzilla versus Monster Zero as well at the moment, Nick. So watching you with the movie in the background. And Kira and I remade a Monster Zero, or Invasion of the Astro Monster, whatever you want to call it, where both of Nick Adams and Akira Takarada get caught by the aliens, and they both do thumbs down and put up their hands because they're under arrest by the alien. So we recreated that. Akira Takarada, may he rest in peace. He was amazing, just such a sweet man. And when I literally showed him my driver's license to prove that I am Nick Adam, polling, not Nick Adams, but it was like, oh, Nick Adams. He thought maybe I may have been, a relative. But that was so much fun, and I got his autograph on a Laserdisc copy of Godzilla versus Mothra, or Mothra versus Godzilla, 1962 Laserdisc, with Mr. Nakajima's autograph. Bobby Reynolds looks like Nick Adam is sitting in the Shredder's lair on the sewers with the turtles in front of all those TVs. Yeah.
I can see that.
We are definitely in the, I guess you could call it the Videodrome, if you will, because we are.
Ooh,
okay, maybe not
get me
quite
started on Videodrome.
Like or dislike?
I like it.
It's weird.
It definitely takes a certain mind frame to get into.
Yeah,
it's one of those kind of movies. So you have to be in that mindset. Yeah.
Cronenberg. Yeah.
Should have worn my Videodrome shirt.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't have this lovely shirt. So.
Right. And if it had any green, which is why I chose the colors There's no green. It's not going to bleed through with the green screen.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it's just a green screen, guys. Sorry. But yes, thank you, Bobby Reynolds, for pointing that out.
Yeah.
The NES days.
I never thought of that, but that's pretty cool.
Well,
yeah,
I still always have a little bit of an issue with this every once in a while bleeding through. It doesn't always happen. If I can get it right, the keying right, it never happens. But usually I do this in post-production.
Yeah. I think you froze, Nick.
Yep. Oh, am I still good?
You're coming in and out, so hopefully it doesn't cut out.
Let us know in the chat if we're still here and with you. Apologize, internet connection. One day, maybe I'll get a better connection out here in the sticks of Indiana, but for all I can do, unless I get Starlink, this is the best I can do. So one day, maybe we'll get.
Yeah, we'll take a poll real quick. Should my next game be Asteroids or Galaxian?
Yeah, Galaxian or Galaxian. Yeah. In the chat, should it be Asteroids or Galaxian? Let us know what is the next one he should play. Bobby Reynolds, Brazilla fan. Would it be if they
an R-rated
Raphael movie, like make a new movie R-rated Raphael with him and turtle version of Rambo? Now that's interesting.
That sounds cool.
That's getting out there, but I guess they do occasionally want to take something from childhood or comics or whatever and make an R-rated version of it, or take a character like they did Bumblebee, made a Bumblebee solo movie, essentially. And of course, Deadpool being one of the very few R-rated comic book movies.
Well, that's a pretty good concept, though. When you think about it, take each turtle, and each turtle has their own different genre of movie or whatever like that. So Raphael would definitely be Rambo.
Well, I know that they have that Last Ronin comic, but I haven't read it, so I'm not sure which. It's only supposed to feature one turtle, and it's supposed to be pretty dark. So I don't know if you guys have heard of it. So
I've seen
which turtle it is. Yeah,
I've seen the cover art. Yeah, but so they're trying to get kind of back to the roots. It is a TMNT's starts as a comic book.
Yeah, and it's a dark comic book, the original TMNT, the Mirage comic.
Parker said Galaxian.
Yep, Matthew Parker, Galaxian is the vote. Yep, you got it.
So,
and Galaxian is a kind of port of the Space Invaders.
Yeah,
and what's the other one? Galaga. Galaga's another one.
It's kind of like
Yeah. I have a shirt of Galaga actually, and
I played Galaga for the NES. That's a fun title. Speaking, let me ask you guys. So, other than Super Mario Brothers 3 and Ninja Turtles, some of the other games that I really like, and I want to hear your guys' take on them, are I love Mega Man 2. That's my favorite Mega Man game.
Mega Man makes me so frustrated.
The first game is a little more frustrating, I think, though, than the sequel.
Yeah.
He's got his Mega Man figure from Jax. Awesome.
Yep.
That's my figure.
It's my figure now.
Yeah.
What was yours is ours. Or mine. I don't know.
Or mine.
Sharing is caring. So.
Yeah. Mega Man 2. Great video game music.
As crazy as it sounds, Dr. Mario.
Oh man, yeah. Puzzle games. There was some great puzzle games.
Yeah. Tetris, of course.
Tetris. Mom used to play Tetris.
Which is the easiest?
There is a crazy story behind Tetris, getting Tetris the rights from the Russian creator of Tetris to be on the Game Boy, being included with the original Game Boy. And there's a documentary out there that is just amazing. Just this guy who's got these KGB guys around him, and he's just over there to buy the rights to Tetris from this developer over there. And it was like, you don't do these kind of deals without the Russian government knowing what you're doing and following you all along the way. But yeah, he was able to negotiate that, and we got Tetris as port on the Game Boy, and then all its many iterations over the years in puzzle gaming, multiple consoles and knockoffs. Of course, there's been plenty of knockoff Tetrises out there, but the original Tetris, and that great music that it has too.
So many games were not just great to play, but had great music. I mean, I love the original Metroid, and that had a lot of
Metroid had great music.
Absolutely. I mean, who can forget Kraid's theme?
Yes.
I know.
Yeah. What are you playing now? Mega Man.
Mega Man, yeah. Mega Man 4.
Mega Man 4?
Mega Man 4.
Is there any passwords for this?
Sorry, buddy. It's just a hard game. But
it's just a hard game.
But Michael can talk to Eli here about the strategy essentially to Mega Man. What was it that you had to figure out to get through the nine or 8 bosses, I guess.
There's 9.
9 bosses.
It's included Dr. Wily.
Yeah. Well, usually you have to kind of figure out what works because you get to at least it's a cool game from the perspective that you get to choose which boss you want to face first, and you got to learn the best strategy because the weapons that because you attain the weapons from the bosses after you defeat them, and then you have to figure out which weapon is going to be effective against a subsequent boss that's going to come after that. There are certain, like Mega Man 2, for example, you've got the Metal Blade from Metal Man, and you can torch a lot of enemies with that. So that is a big key to pick up. The only thing is I don't tend to do that level first just because of the fact that that there are some pickups along the way that I like to use some of the special items to reach. But certainly attaining that one, I think a couple of the other games like I think even Mega Man 4 as well has similar weapons like that. So you just got to know, you just got to map out in your head which boss that you want to tackle first because you have to attain new power-ups from defeating each of the bosses, and it makes it a lot easier as you make your way through the game.
What's a good one to start with?
Yeah, he's asking about. You got to speak into the mic, which is to your left. But
sorry.
Yeah, what were you going to ask?
What is the best boss to start with in Mega Man 4?
Good question. Probably been a while, right?
Sorry if I asked a bad question.
Do you have Woodman? Oh.
It's
that's
like
new.
Just, yeah.
Oh no, I'm thinking Mega Man 2.
Yeah, I don't know which one because of course you have to kill them first with the Mega Buster, which is just Mega Man without a power up. And
also, I had come with this Red Mega Man that doesn't even shoot, and it just has this jumping dog.
Yeah, the Rush dog.
Yeah.
The dog that could be a jet or a spring.
Yeah, but it doesn't allow you to shoot when you're active.
Yes, yeah, because that's your power. Yeah, and you have to switch to that, and that's why again it's not for the faint of heart. And so he's gonna try taking on Dustman with the Mega Buster. So okay, yeah, go for it.
Get that
Galaga is Parker's Imaginarian's favorite. Best is he says it's the best game, whether it's his favorite or not. But the arcade 1-up, yes, in the shop, that would be fun for people to come in.
Oh yeah,
and play some.
If you could get the one that the tabletop one.
Now that was fun. Yes.
Yeah.
The tabletop. Yeah. So you could play and maybe have a beverage on the side or something. Yeah.
Pizza Hut always had the best games.
Oh man, yeah. What Miss Pac-Man was in our local Dairy Queen, and we played the heck out of that.
Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah. Which was a great game in the arcade. But yeah, the NES games. Tell me more about some NES games that we can bring up. The music you mentioned, Michael.
Yeah, well, another one's a big hitter, and it's got a very iconic overworld theme. Is of course The Legend of Zelda. We'd be remiss not to bring that.
Legend of Zelda 2.
Trivia for anyone out there, not in this room, not Michael, because I'm sure you guys know who's the creator of the Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda, developed the games, created it. He's the top dog. He's still around today. It's in the chat. Let's see if anyone knows who that man's name is. Obviously, it's a Japanese name, but yeah, we'll if it happens to come up, we'll bring it up. But yes, Zelda. I mean, one of the earliest, I guess you really can't call it RPG, but it's definitely got the RPG style elements that it's a quest more so than a platform, game and a jumping around or shoot 'em up game. So finding keys, listening to these cryptic messages in caves and whatever else.
Oh, and just want to mention to anybody who's watching ever play Ocarina of Time, this man here looks a lot like Raru, the Sage of Light.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
And he's Eli is definitely a Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time kind of guy. He will read about them. He will study the books before he's even played the games. I have this Ocarina of Time book, the strategy book, and he has looked through that. He has just about memorized that. I think he might know it better than Minecraft, which is another one of his favorite games.
I know a lot of games.
Yeah. Eli's of a interesting generation where they're playing Minecraft, which looks like it could have come out 20 years ago, but yet
that's the retro look, and the
It's
kids love
updated
it.
like
They
100
love
times.
it. Yeah,
Oh,
we always
must
go
have
back.
wiped out.
Oh,
We're talking about NES games and great music. Kid Icarus.
yes,
Kid Icarus
Oh
had,
yeah, I love the
has some great
Uprising
music
one.
in it.
hard
That's
game.
from the makers of Metroid, actually. Kid Icarus.
Oh yeah.
You could
Yeah.
just
Fun little fact.
Yeah,
And of
what
course,
was
you got like Castlevanias and other great.
Castlevania. Yeah.
Yeah, who developed all those games? What was it?
Oh,
The
Konami's Castlevania.
Konami and Castlevania, yeah.
let me use the coordinates.
Kid Icarus and Metroid and all Legend is those are all first person or not for those are all first party developed.
Nintendo itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nintendo
if you
itself.
guys remember, like, and even Ninja Turtles will fall into this kind of topic, I don't want to get too in depth with it, but Nintendo kind of had a stronghold, like as far as the way that they let third party games release, so they wouldn't allow any more than I want to say 10 titles a year. So that's why, like, the first Ninja Turtles game and the second one are both released under Ultra, which Ultra is actually a subsidiary of Konami, and they use that as like a workaround so that they could release more than the 10 game allotment. So just some pretty fun little historic factoids. So,
And of course, other great companies that made the games. Capcom, another great one.
Yeah.
Sunsoft. Some of those were great. We're probably bugging out.
Nothing like bugging out.
Yep. Come back. Okay, I think we're back. All right. Had a little glitch there in the Matrix, but we're still here.
right,
So
you're here.
Tron. Yeah,
Tron was a
yes.
great one. Tron was a difficult one.
Now it was obviously the
There's
life cycle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was several versions of it because there's a disc one too. Disc of Tron,
Yes.
which is paddle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the game obviously came out before the film.
No.
Or no, it was
It was about the same time.
okay. So they were
So
paired
yeah.
up.
So the standard Atari Tron was I think it was light cycle, but it was like dot and then drawing a dot, but still fun.
Yeah, and
the movie was great.
Well, yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, such a great classic, and a lot of people forget Walt Disney. It's a Disney film.
Yeah.
Like The Black Hole, a lot of underrated Disney films that are my favorite films is the ones that are underrated, like Black Hole and Black Cauldron. There was
Black Cauldron, yeah.
Return to Oz.
If we want to we could jump.
Oh, you guys still there?
I remember this one, but
yeah.
what was that? Oh,
Another Disney classic or
no, it was a video game.
classic
man.
video game classic.
Kind of like Black Cauldron, but it was Dragon's Lair.
Oh, Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that game. That's a classic.
Could never figure out how to play it.
Right. It was a difficult one, but I know that the arcade had like some of the best graphics because they actually had a laser disc
Yeah.
to do the cinematic cut scenes
Yep.
in it, which Laserdisc is one of my favorite kind of retro technologies too, because it's so bizarre. It's not a great technology, but for its time,
Yeah.
it was cool.
Revolutionary, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, the only bummer was like halfway through the movie, you had to take it out and flip it over.
Right.
Put it back in.
Yep. And if you watched a movie like It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, 6 discs.
6 discs, oh my
which
gosh.
is 12 sides. So you were getting up a lot unless you had a player that could play on both sides.
Yeah.
I do now, but it's like, when I first started watching Laserdisc.
Well, the first players, you'd have to flip them over.
Yeah, you could. And now, they came out with later. So Laserdisc, I'm still kind of a sucker for them, for collectability of them. But yeah, it's still retro technology. Tron was fantastic.
Well, they look good on your wall.
Yeah, I've got them. Yeah, they have the big cover art, which is what I love about them. Same thing with vinyl albums.
Yes,
big cover
art. Yep.
And sometimes an insert with some other information that you didn't get.
And they call it a gatefold sleeve.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Yeah. Well, like in the Laserdisc, they would call it an insert if it was like behind the scenes, information or whatever. So like in that Godzilla, Mothra versus Godzilla 62, they had some, behind the scenes photography, and it was written in both Japanese and English, so they were obviously thinking it was going to be coming over here. But it's interesting, it is a Toho Laserdisc, and one version of the film in the Japanese language and one version of the film with the international dub, which was cool. So I was like, yeah, this is pretty awesome. But and then the first commentary was on a Criterion King Kong 1933 Criterion Laserdisc of that. First time they ever did commentary.
Cool.
Yeah, with a film historian, obviously from Janus Films, that laid that down. And, it's the first time. So I think it was kind of like, synchronizing it and figuring out how to make that work, which they just used one of the 2 stereo channels. So all you're doing on the remote is turning on the left, the right, or both. So you can listen to the commentary without sound effects, or listen to it with sound effects, or just sound effects. Yeah. So, which was kind of cool. But yeah, that was, revolutionary in that sort of way too. Nintendo and all the home consoles taking the arcade experience and bringing it home for the family. But then there was the arcade, and then the idea that arcades are these havens of crime and evil and no goodness and gangs.
The thing, at least when I was a kid, was they'd always have these eerie names too. Like the one in Union City was called the Dungeon,
right?
And you had to go downstairs, and we were like, we were getting beaten up or something. And finally, we went down, and it's just a place. Okay, I was like, and then there's another one at the mall. It's called Sultan's Castle.
I love Sultan's Castle. Yeah, the Muncie Mall. Yeah, Muncie, where Close Encounters was never shot, but was set there. But yeah, Sultan's Castle was just it's aisles and aisles of arcade consoles, and they would update them so you'd get some of the new ones. I remember the Dark County Fair. They had an arcade set up at a fairgrounds under a tent. Just aisles and aisles of games. I remember the Play Choice 10, which had some of the ports of the Nintendo games, like Punch-Out. Yeah. But better graphics, of course. You were a wireframe version of your character, so you could see through him to fight the other guys. They had Excite Bike. They had, I'm trying to think, Play Choice 10, all the other games that they had on there. But it was just, obviously you pop a quarter in and you can play whatever game you selected. And it had 2 screens, a top and bottom screen. So, the arcades. But I guess where did that come from, that idea that these arcades are havens of, like what in Turtles, the movie, movie depicted, which is they're all down there drinking and smoking cigars like an 8-year-old or something, or like Eli down there,
I think at the time, everybody was like, even the adults were afraid of teenagers. So anywhere there's a congregation of teenagers, they were up to no good.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of the time, everybody's just playing. You got a stack of quarters. You put the stack of quarters on there. You put your quarter on there next, so you got the next game or whatever like that. And everybody was cool.
Yeah, you call
Yeah,
dibs.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you play that. I don't have Eli's not a teenager yet, but he's getting close. So if he gets into the haven of arcades and all that, I don't know.
I'm a little into it.
The arcades are fun, especially the retro arcades that are out there. There's a few still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Eli guy, hey,
Yes.
You think you could reach into the refrigerator down there and you can have me a Coca-Cola?
Oh, product placement.
Product placement 101.
I know. Yeah. Well, I am not sponsor. I just like their beverage, just like the Java Monster.
Just like I'm not sponsoring.
Oh boy.
Right.
Are we going to reenact Wayne's World here?
Yes.
It's the choice of a new generation.
Yep.
Arcade consoles in there too. They had the
Yes. Those Noah's Arcade. Noah's Arcade.
Okay.
Yep.
Who is he? He was talking about the game Zontar or something like that. I think that was an actual game. It was like and he was like he said it was a gelatinous cube, and you have to try to eat villagers. Or something.
Yeah. I'm guessing no one in the chat knows my answer to my trivia. That's okay. That was kind of obscure, but it's the internet, so I would hope that somebody was going to look it up. Shigeru Miyamoto was the creator of Mario, Zelda, some of the greatest NES games, but he's really out there. He is a musician and a guy who thinks of the story of the game and coming up with the idea of the Mario and the small Mario, the mushroom that makes him big, and then the cliffs to fall off of, and then going from there. But then he took this huge leap from Mario to Zelda, and he is still essentially the main developer, storyline developer of the Zelda games that came out later.
Yeah.
And there actually is this really interesting video that's a concert with Shigeru Miyamoto and this orchestra playing music from Mario, Zelda, and they're just, it's amazing sound. And he's there playing his acoustic with them, actually. But yeah, he was a man who was destined to be a Nintendo developer, because he's come out with these games that have just set history in motion for where we are today. But yeah, the NES and everything Nintendo is doing. You talked about the lockout switch and the game companies that can develop only so many games per year. Capcom only so many. Sunsoft. Who was that awful one that AVGN always hates?
Oh boy, LJN.
LJN. Some of the worst games ever. They were usually the Nintendo ports of movies. So, or sometimes, like they had X-Men, which was not based on the movie, but
right.
They had an X-Men game based on the comics. Awful, terrible game. And they would do, what else was there? I forget. But yeah, the movies that they would port, and some of the other games, if it had LJN, the graphics were awful. The game itself was overly challenging to a point of just absolute frustration. But Sunsoft was good too. I love Blaster Master, one of my favorites too. Yeah.
Did they do the Friday the 13th?
Who did Friday the 13th? Good question.
That was Sunsoft.
Sunsoft may have. Yeah, I don't think it was LJN.
No.
Yeah, I'm sure
it was too good of a game.
Yeah. That had jump scares too.
Yeah.
I love the jump scares of Friday the 13th.
They might have done the Nightmare on Elm Street game though.
They might, yeah. I just said you kind of put it. It's kind of like a traumatic experience. You can put it out of your mind, so you don't remember.
I know
any of the games that are so bad.
Playing that late at night, and suddenly he's in front of you, Jason, with that jump scare music, and it's like, well, you have to go find him to kill him if you're going to win the game. But you're also like, I don't know if I want to or not.
I don't want to find him.
He's scary. Trying to avoid him.
By the way, I just looked it up. Friday the 13th, developed by both Atlas and LJN.
Oh wow!
But they had help.
Well, oops.
Game where you got two robot, red and blue. They turned into a spaceship, and the goal is to destroy the enemy base, defend your base. I'm wondering what that game might be that he is referring to.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Tell us what console it was on. If it was the NES, SNES, Genesis. Let's get into that. during the same time of NES. They had the competitor Genesis, and I didn't have as much background with it, but I know, Michael, you had yourself a Genesis growing up.
Yeah. Well, basically, and you and I had even discussed it too, like as you were wondering about their original console for Sega, which was, of course, the Master System. That was their 8-bit console. But then they were the first to really, I don't know if they were the first, but they were kind of the big hitter with the, initially with the 16-bit era, which, of course, they weren't picking up full steam at first until they finally got their mascot, which I'm trying to segue into because he is my personal favorite game character of all time. And that, of course, is Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's right.
Of course, the original, the Genesis itself, I think came out in 88 or 89. Somebody in the chat correct me on the year. But like I said, it took a couple years for it to really build up steam. But that was when they were pushing the motto, Genesis does what Nintendo don't, because the Super Nintendo didn't actually release it. Yeah, exactly. But Sonic came out in 91, and that's when they really established themselves. And then, of course, the Super Nintendo released the same year, and that's when the console wars really started taking effect, which was something I mainly growing, I was born in the 80s, but I mainly grew up in the 90s. So I really had a lot of exposure to the console wars. Like I said, I opted to get the Genesis. I got mine in 95. Again, actually, my grandmother got it for me. But this time she gave me a choice. She asked me if I wanted the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. It was a tough choice because I know I definitely want to play Super Mario World. That's a fantastic game. And the pack-in game I remember for the SNES was Super Metroid, which, definitely was a shame that I didn't play that game until I was an adult when I played it on the Wii, which obviously Eli's playing old games on the Wii right now. I got it on there. And then, of course, I have the SNES Mini, which of course has it, and then I have the Switch, which also has it. So I've got lots of options now to play it, and I've absolutely it's in my top 10, maybe even top 5 favorite games of all time. Super Metro, I think it even has surpassed the original for me, just because of how incredible of a game it is. But I didn't opt to get it because I really wanted the Genesis. I know I'm making a long-winded story out of this, but I wanted the Genesis because I wanted Sonic. Sonic was he was my guy. I love of course, I know people are hit and miss on the original game. I still love it. It's in my top 10, but I do love Sonic 2 even more. And of course, my favorite Sonic game and also my second favorite video game of all time, right behind Mario 3, is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, the full adventure, which I don't know if you guys remember much of the Genesis, but you remember when Sonic 3 came out, it would actually had to be, they split it in 2 games because they were trying to meet a deadline. So Sonic 3 portion came out in February of 94, and then later on, I think it was October of 94 is when they released Sonic and Knuckles, but they made the cartridge with the ability, what they called the lock-on technology. I do have the cartridges over there. I don't know if I can grab them, but
it's all good. If you want to, you're welcome to, but I do remember that because it was like the Game Genie, an add-on to plug in. Yeah, it was you could plug it in, and then you're enhancing the game now. In the case of the Game Genie, you're hacking the game actually because it was third party. But yeah, still a lot of fun. And then they made the Game Genie for Super Nintendo, Genesis, Game Boy, and obviously they started with the regular Nintendo. But that made a new set of challenges, but also a new set of just hackery and just I don't know, just changing up the game. Give me some other way to play this. So I can, maybe even feel a little bit more godlike above the, things and having infinite lives. They killed you, but it's like, that's okay. I got infinite lives. So, yeah. Sega Genesis, such an underrated system. Parker's needs to get one in there. Yes, Sega. And the game, so the game Bobby was referring to was... I do not know that one. Okay.
I think that's on the Genesis, I believe. Genesis had a lot of great, not just Sonic, they had a lot of great titles. They had I like Vector Man a lot. I know that's a little hit and miss for some people. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's like he's like a robot. It's kind of like a run and gun kind of thing, but you get like different power ups. It's a fun game. I'm just
Ultra Beast. Ultra Beast.
That was one of the old school.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was on arcade.
Golden Axe was another one. So
Golden Axe arcade.
There's one I remember playing called Sewer Shark.
Sewer Shark. I don't know that one. No.
It was it was like a disc attachment that you put on the Genesis.
The Sega CD.
Yeah.
The Sega CD.
Yeah, it was it was a Sega CD game.
Okay, yeah. Because the Genesis had such a life because they kept doing add-ons.
Yeah.
You had the 32X on top of the console, and then the CD, which was added kind of below and off to the side. Yeah, and it was like there was a Franken console, by the end. It's alive, and I think they had 3 different power supplies even.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The thing ran hot too.
Yeah. But yeah, they didn't do that with a Nintendo. You weren't getting add-ons. They would just
come out with the new console, which reminds me of it must have been like 97 or something like that. And I asked you and Troy, it was like, oh, which console do you want? And whatever like that. And you both said you wanted the Nintendo 64. And what did I get you? Well, the PlayStation 1.
PlayStation was fun.
I love the PlayStation. PlayStation's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
The funny thing behind that, though, was, and Nick, you kind of touched on this, Nintendo actually, when they had the SNES, they were going to emulate what Sega was doing with an add-on. They were contracting, or at least in negotiations, if I'm remembering correctly, with Sony to do an add-on for the Super Nintendo, and it ended up that Nintendo backed down because they didn't think Sony could do it, whatever. And because Sony already had like this thing in place, they ended up deciding to pivot and create their own console, and of course the PlayStation came out. So,
and Nintendo stuck with cartridges a lot longer. 64,
yeah, 64 was a cartridge. Yep.
And even the
Nintendo, the GameCube was the first one.
Yep. I still love my GameCube. I only have a few games. Mario Kart Double Dash, so much fun. Yes, that is. And Mario Kart even on the SNES was great.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was funny that the ads for Sega during that time in its war with the SNES were that, you got Sonic blazing through pipes and things, and then Mario Kart's putting along, running on a little motorcycle engine or something. And it's like, I get it, but Nintendo did have the fun experience without having to be so, I guess, sugar rushed. Sonic was that. He was the bad boy, so if you had the kid on the block with the Sega, he was the bad boy. It's like you're playing Nintendo or whatever. That's more of the family kind of games and whatever else. But I'm like, oh yeah. Well, and it's like Mortal Kombat proved that. The Sega was darker,
true,
and scarier and bloodier, and it was like Nintendo. It's like, they don't have the blood, but
the Super Nintendo did have the original Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
They released it. And I think after the first game, the SNES did start releasing Mortal Kombat, like when 2 came out. I think they did start incorporating the blood effects as well.
Yeah.
Well, they had, I'm thinking on Super Nintendo, they had some games that were always, the parents were just a little bit more leery of at times, Killer Instinct or whatever. Mm-hmm. I will say this, Sega had probably the better of the Jurassic Park games because you got to be the raptor rather than just being the human characters. And the Super Nintendo version of Jurassic Park was this overhead view of it, and it was just this strategy style game. I didn't like it. Matt said his stoner friends were constantly playing Sega hockey. One of my favorite Sonics, you probably like this one, Michael, is Sonic Spinball.
Mm-hmm.
A very different kind of Sonic game, but it's a pinball game with Sonic running around, and you can manipulate him as he's moving around, and it just had a lot of fun elements to it. Not puzzle game, but it had that idea that it's a pinball game that I'm playing on my home console with Sonic running around. Though that game had a lot of lag if you had too many things happening on.
And it was a tough game to play. I couldn't beat it, honestly. It was tough.
Yeah, it was.
I would always because if you don't hit the bumpers correctly to try to pivot him, and you usually have to drain something. Is the goal was you had to collect the emeralds for each stage, and I struggled mightily. I could never get the timing right. So
yeah,
it was terrible at Spinball.
You think you can play a game, Bobby Reynolds? You can do your take on other games like War of the Monsters. Yeah, I would definitely love to talk about some Godzilla NES games if I can get Eli over here to ever play Godzilla Monsters of Monsters, but he's playing Blaster Master. I can't fault him for that because I still love Blaster Master. And only recently in my life have I been able to conquer that game. It is a hard game too, but it's also a long game. There's just a lot going on with it, but it's an underrated gem. Some of those NES games that you kind of forget. Also great music. Monster of Monsters is not a hard game necessarily. It's just it's kind of a slog because you'll fight the same kaiju over and over again.
But I love it. I still find it. I mean, just because it's like a Godzilla platformer type of game, it's just right in my wheelhouse. So it's in my top 20. I would say I just love playing it. Yeah. But there are difficult you get a lot of enemies coming at you on the screen in Monsters. So that's something. Plus, if you guys know, you always have to watch out for that flying horseshoe of death that comes at you.
Duck quickly. Or if you're Mothra, try and fly around it because, man, that thing would kill you. I do love that when playing that, when it was in the rental store and then later I bought it. It was a game that had characters that, of course, I hadn't heard of. I'm sure you're the same way. It's like, who are some of these kaiju? Some of the ships. Obviously, we had the Gotengo even represented in it. We had the SY3 in the background, but yet you couldn't do anything about that. It was back there, and he was shooting at you. The Gotengo you could actually, smash up. But it's like, how often did you actually get to always playing Star Wars on the 7800? Maybe.
Oh, wow. Got the blue screen of death.
Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, even the dust in the blow it out. Oh, yeah.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, but the cartridges, boy, they could go through a beating sometimes. Whereas your disc games, sometimes, you can scratch up and ruin those discs. And with the cartridges, and it's even interesting that the Nintendo DS had cartridges. The Switch essentially it's a cartridge. It's more like a memory card, but it's like
like an SD card kind of thing. I think.
Yeah,
it's the Switch, right? Yeah,
the Switch,
it's like an SD card.
Yeah. But it's like sometimes you go back to the old technologies because they just simply worked, and disc was nice for what it was, but I didn't like the load times, all the time of that. Did you ever own a Dreamcast, Sega Dreamcast?
I never did. That's a shame because from what I recall, they actually had a bunch of decent games that released for the Dreamcast, but it didn't sell well, and then Sega stopped making consoles after that. So,
and there was one game on the Dreamcast I played at it was a demo Dreamcast set up somewhere, some electronics mega store or whatever. When we had those were fun, but we don't have those anymore. But a Dreamcast was set up, and I looked for a while to find the game. Eventually I did find it, and you can obviously ROM it, port it to a console, not virtual console, but like a, PC. But it was called Panzer Dragoon Orta. Do you remember that game?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
It was also on the Xbox, the original Xbox. And I just remember what was so fun about that. You ride a dragon into battle, and so it's kind of a shooter, first person, sky shooter, style game. And targets would be coming at you. So it was kind of like that Star Fox perspective. And you could target them, but you could target multiples and charge up your flame or magical whatever projectile that the dragon had, and then you could fire them at multiple different targets, and depending upon, of course, that the level of what the target could put out. This is funny. He's playing with a paddle controller. The what is it called? It's
Super Breakout.
Super Breakout. Yeah.
That's a classic game.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to go back to the classics.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Contra. Eli.
I was going to mention Contra. That was a big one. I didn't have the original. I have Super C though, and Super C is a great game if you ever played it. So.
They're so challenging, but man, they're so fun. And Eli's
playing it now.
Yep.
The bridge totally crashed on me.
Yes, you have to jump
Did you
before.
do the Konami code?
Well,
No.
I don't know if I did.
No, you'd have 30.
You'd have to do that at the
Titles.
No, you can't do it in the game. Unfortunately, you have to reset it and do that before the actual. You're going to use that controller?
This?
You're going to try that?
No, I thought I had to use it like.
You don't have to. You can use the Konami code on the actual Wiimote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense.
And you got to do it before the Contra logo fully falls into place there. So, yeah. We got to bring in this generation to, know the important things in life. Yeah.
I did it.
Let's see if it worked. Let's see.
I think I heard a chime, so it sounds like it probably worked.
No.
Rest 3.
Rest
No,
3.
didn't get it.
Didn't get it. But maybe you'll try it next time. It takes, just a lot of courage to get through this game without the Konami code.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way.
I could never do it.
This was the kind of game that I would see how far I could get if I woke up early enough before school to get a few stages in. But so much fun. Reminds me a lot of the movie Aliens 2. Not Aliens 2, but Aliens. Yeah. Because you end up
Aliens as well.
Aliens as well. Yeah. James Cameron Aliens. Because there's these so-called human characters that are running around. So it's military versus military, or jungle warfare, if you will. Then it ends up in all these crustacean-like stages with these creatures.
Yeah. It's like a mix of like Aliens and even a little bit of Predator in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely Predator. Yeah. Where you go? DuckTales. Oh yeah.
Did you guys ever play the Predator NES game?
I don't think LJN?
I'm not sure. I want to say it might be like Acclaim or something, but I think I'm wrong on that. Let me find out real quick. Let me look.
Wonder if the game above, Nick, what is your son playing? Right now he's playing DuckTales. A minute ago, what was it you were playing?
Contra.
Oh, Contra, yeah. And before that he was playing Blaster Master, so... But yeah, the greatest music, DuckTales. And it's like, I remember introducing this to the boys. And it's like, yeah, you're Uncle Scrooge. Oh, you're not like the younger kids, the Huey, Dewey, and Louie. You're the old guy. And it's like, okay, so what do? You use your cane. He can bounce on it all day long, and his arthritis is not a problem.
Oh yeah, DuckTales. That's a great. Predator was developed by Activision, by the way.
Activision. Yep. That company has been around so long, from the Atari. There's a story about that too. It was that David, who made Pitfall, David Crane, founded Activision because they considered the people who were the game developers just like factory workers. They weren't creatives. They weren't,
Hey, Dad, how do you hit?
How do you hit?
Like whack?
You push,
whack.
You go up against, and then continue to hold left or right depending upon the direction, and then hit the action button, which is B, I believe. No, okay, whatever. If it's A, then so yeah.
That's jump.
Keep going right, and then whatever the action button for the cane is.
Oh,
there you go. There you go. Yeah.
You can do that, or you could pogo them. So.
Yep. Yeah, some of the ways that they came up with how you attack. It's like, do you have something to shoot? Does your character jump? Do they jump high? Or is it like that? What was that? Oh, that game that had no jumps, but you had a grappling hook.
Oh, Ninja Gaiden?
No, Ninja Gaiden, you could jump. You had a grappling hook, and you were more of a bionic commander, I think is what it was called, something like that. And yeah, that was challenging because you literally could walk left or right. You had a weapon to shoot, but you also had a grappling hook to get you to the different platforms. Yeah. So many great games. So many.
Yeah. And there's a lot of great, speaking of Disney, because he's playing DuckTales, there's a lot of great like Disney games, including like on the Genesis, because like Aladdin was a great game. I don't know if you guys played that. The Lion King is very tough.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of them. Another one I love is Mickey Mania. I don't know if you guys remember that one. That's a fun game. You get to go back, like you start back in time. You start from Steamboat Willie, and you play through several of his like shorts, like through the years up until the Prince and the Pauper. That's the final stage.
Yeah.
So,
really cool.
Yeah. Did the Kingdom Hearts begin on these retro consoles, or did it begin on the PlayStation, or what was it?
It was the PS2.
Okay. PS2, gotcha. And it's taken off over the years, obviously, and grown in size. And one of the things that I always did love about the SNES having that versus the Genesis was Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter, yeah. Which I do have it for the Genesis, Street Fighter 2, but I know it's a little bit more iconic on the SNES, though. So,
oh yeah,
the music is more iconic on the SNES.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there. The SNES had the Super Scope, which was their upgraded version of the Zapper, but not a lot of great games, I'd say, with the Super Scope. That was what was fun about that, though, was the Super Scope had the eyepiece that you could look in, and a lot of our friends and I cheated. We sighted in the Super Scope with a laser pointer, so that you could just point it directly at the target, and you never miss.
Nice.
What if Nick is having pizza, getting a drink, Zillifan reach over between the lines, stole the pizza. Nick came back and said, "Where's my pizza?" From Florida, yeah. He's quite talented. Florida to Indiana.
Yes, so if I could reach through the screen and grab your pizza.
I think I could do a skit that would do something like that, and it's like suddenly, it's like, "Hey, where's my pizza?" And then Michael's eating it, and it's like, "Also, where's my wallet?" Michael's looking for my wallet.
I'm gonna get this game to work.
Yeah.
Which game is that? Is that the
Star
Wars game, or is that the?
He's trying to play Kaboom on the Atari, which seems to be working.
Yep.
Yeah, with the paddle controls.
Yep.
Yeah. Just had to give it some love, and then the console finally gave in. And Eli is playing Shinobi. Is that right?
Shinobi looks like.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to get into
Shinobi and Ninja Gaiden are both great games, so you can't go wrong.
Oh yeah, so much fun.
And you guys remember Double Dragon also?
Double Dragon.
Yeah. Wait, you got 50,000 in Double Dragon? Is that good?
50,000 in Double Dragon.
Is that good? Who actually pays attention to the points?
Somehow we got it in like 2 seconds. By the way, if you watch that scene.
Oh man.
Yeah, so much good. And that was the thing about watching that movie recently. I was like, I wanted to see more gameplay footage during that time, and it's like this story is really just not, it's not really entertaining to me. I really don't want to see Christian Slater and Beau Bridges looking for kids that are runaways.
This is California.
Yeah.
You do know that was Tobey Maguire's first ever appearance in that film, though, right?
Yes. Yeah. At Universal, he's in the background of the crew around Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas with the power glove.
I love the power glove. It's so bad.
After Zach King, Bobby Reynolds. Yes, Zach King's great. Yeah, so much about that movie that's just fantastic. And to take us to Universal Studios, you have Universal Studios in Florida, which I don't know if they're going to be developing any of that. They have like a Mario Land, I think, going on in California. I don't know if they're going to do it there. They are?
Yes.
They'd be wise to. I mean, the parks in Florida, between Disney World, Legoland, SeaWorld, I mean, everything in Orlando that's going on with that and Universal, obviously, they'd be foolish not to. But that will be interesting to see, and we'll definitely have to visit you down there, Michael, and bring the whole family and treat you to Orlando and see this Mario Land, Mario World. What are they going to call it?
I think they're going to call it Nintendo World, but I'm not sure. I have to look that up, but I know it's going to be something like that. But it's going to be incorporated because they've got like their whole like world of I don't know if it's called World of Nintendo or World. I'm trying to remember the name, but yeah. But it's like part of like because you got all the parks there, so they kind of interlace everything. So
here's a question for you, Michael. Did you subscribe to Nintendo Power?
I had gotten a couple issues over the year. I was never actually subscribed to the magazine. Did you guys have a subscription?
We did in the early days, yes. Loved that, getting the strategies and seeing games that were about to come out. We didn't keep it forever because, subscription-based magazines could get really expensive. And that was the way you figured things out before the internet, or you called the Nintendo hotline.
900 number.
900 which has a completely different connotation. But it's like
$5 a minute. And they talk like this.
Man. Yeah, that. But the Nintendo Powers, the strategies they came out with, the even the comics, the fact that you could submit, like, I think you take a picture with a Polaroid or a 35 millimeter camera of your screen if you got the high score or you finished it to get into the records. That was kind of neat. I never did that though, but always wanted to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But that was some crazy stuff. Bucky O'Hare on the Nintendo. The poor man's man.
Nice. Yeah, Nintendo Power though, they had a lot of great especially if you get stuck on a game. Like they had a lot of helpful hints and tips to get you through, and they even had, I think they had the Nintendo hotline, if I'm not correct, back in the day, where like if you were completely stuck, you can actually call them in, and they'll help you out. Yep, you guys remember that?
And they did that in the movie The Wizard. Yeah, and going through all the different games, she was going to get strategies on Simon's Quest, and I'm like, yes, you do, because unless you had Nintendo Power or unless you knew somebody who got the way to get through that game, Simon's Quest was a bear. How were you supposed to know that you needed to stab something with an oak stake? And or bow down by that brick wall? I'm channeling.
Another I think that wasn't that AVGN's very first episode was Simon's Quest?
It was. His very first was Simon's Quest, and how frustrating it was. It's still a fun game, and it's definitely one to play at night. That's one during a thunderstorm. Even better. Yeah. And when you finally do get to face off with Dracula, it's like he's not too tough. The rest of the game is what's gonna kill you.
Yeah, exactly. That's even like Ninja Turtles. Like it's the rest of the game that's brutal, and especially that last stage in the Technodrome. But then once you get to Shredder, you can, especially if you have the scrolls, you can shred Shredder basically. So in like 2 seconds. But it's funny though, a lot of games are actually kind of like that, where the final boss was one of the easier parts of the game, and it was the rest of the game that was a slog fest.
Yeah. Metroid was kind of that way, especially Super Metroid. Yeah, it wasn't too bad at the end, but you were just glad that you made it that far, and you could get through it. Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle up there, Eli. Oh my goodness. Retro goodness. Another game that you cannot jump in. You're a bunny that cannot jump. You are Bugs
Makes no sense
Bunny.
at all.
How do I get up there?
Again, channeling the AVGN. I mean, he really brought retro gaming back. I did have for a short amount of time, Michael, the Jaguar.
Oh wow!
A used console, and it was terrible. It was an awful console. Oh man!
Did you opt to get that instead of the Saturn at that point, or
it wasn't? It was not new. I'm talking like 2007, so it was well out of life and in a used video game place. But I was like, I gotta try the Jag. And I think I only paid $50 for it, and a few games came with it, so I was really happy. But I just could not play those games and get fulfilled from them because it was just they were hard. The graphics weren't anything to write home about. They were dark graphics too, and it was very analog technology. I mean, it was just like I'll play the Nintendo and have a lot more fun on the original NES or SNES. Yep. So. Yeah, it was not worth it. Another underrated one that people don't talk about a lot is the Virtual Boy, which I've only played in demo.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Virtual Boy.
Yeah, I think it was the first appearance of Wario. But I could be wrong. But yeah.
So you might be.
I probably am.
I thought the first appearance of Wario was like in his own game. I think like Wario's Party or something.
Well, I thought he was the villain in the Mario game that was available on the Virtual Boy. So I don't know. There's one that
I'm gonna consult the Oracle while you guys are talking.
The Oracle. Amagod. Yeah, that was I don't even know. This was one I remember in the rental store and playing, and it was just fun because you got to become a superhero He-Man looking kind of guy when you grew up to, I don't know, you get some sort of power up and then you get to be a strong man that can just like barrel through all the foes on the stage. Yeah. I don't know exactly the story, but it's still a lot of fun. And this, just gameplay of it. And it's so funny. The sound effects and the music are conflicting with each other. So sometimes
terrible at aiming in this game.
Yeah. Play Monster of Monsters. Would you mind?
Sorry.
Absolutely. Let us see it. So Mario's first appearance was Super Mario Land 2 for the Game Boy.
Okay. Super Mario Land 2. I do have that somewhere.
Yeah, it's
on the original.
I think.
Yeah. And I actually I have my GBA still, so I can play original Game Boy games. And that's something that worth keeping around forever because that GBA plays those and obviously its games. And it was just a ton of fun, and the battery life was better. The picture was better. Sound was better than the Game Boy. Game Boy had no backlight. You got two colors, black and green, and some shade between. That was about it.
Yeah.
And,
LCD.
Yeah. Oh man, but no backlight. So
yeah,
you always had that issue. You cannot play this game when it's dark in the room. So yeah. Oh yeah, man, we could talk for hours on this, and we're already an hour and a half. But I wanted to kind of get some final thoughts, things that maybe we didn't get the chance to talk about, Michael.
You want to let your brother start? I'm trying to think of something.
You had one?
There we go. No. Yeah. I got 129 on Kaboom.
All right. Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. One of the worst Atari games, E.T.
Oh, no,
E.T.
I had no idea. No idea how to play it.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, as you can see, retro games are. I'm still playing it. It's I'm having a great time.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is great. Yeah, just every once in a while, getting them out and putting yourself to a challenge. Eli's challenge is he's going to become the angry video game producer of the Monster Report.
Game producer.
Surrounding me.
Yeah. Oh, there's another monster in there.
Yeah. Yes.
Who is this creature? And it's Michael. Sorry.
Yeah.
No,
we lost.
Frozen.
You're good now.
Yep. Just a little seizing up of the internet. Mogira, Gezra, or goes Gezira, or Yogg, the monster from space. Yeah. And Varan, the first time I ever heard of Varan, and now is my favorite non-Godzilla kaiju. Because again, I have to go for the underdog and the underrated. Yeah, you just tail whip Mogira. You really don't, you know, just keep in one spot and just tail whip him there. He won't move. Really? He won't do anything, and you'll eventually kill him.
Easy.
So, yeah.
Easy. What is it?
Yeah, exactly. And just like you know, the original concept for Monster of Monsters, you were actually, because you notice you notice how we're severely outnumbered. You only have
I know you
were. We were originally supposed to get Rodan and Anguirus as playable characters. So yeah.
Yes, and there was going to be a solo Rodan game in the Nintendo Power. I still have that issue that has the cover art, but they never developed it. Yeah. It was a pretty cool, concept, and it's like I was thinking, we'll get more kaiju games from Japan on the Japanese console. Let's keep this going, but we just never did. And
So a quick question, maybe Michael knows. Is that game I was telling you about the other day when I went to Japan, and it was like Street Fighter, but it was with like
Godzilla?
not Godzilla.
Oh,
but
it was Universal Monsters.
Universal Monsters type thing.
Yeah, there was a Universal Monster beat 'em up versus.
It's just like Street Fighter.
Yeah, and
something's wrong with this.
They were.
He keeps moving, but he keeps moving back and forth.
What console was it for?
Famicom, maybe the Japanese Nintendo, or was it arcade?
Yeah, it was an arcade game.
Okay, an arcade console.
It came to the States in I want to say maybe 95, 96.
And it was the Universal Monsters, the American Universal Monsters, Dracula, Frankenstein.
Yeah, it was but it wasn't like Universal Monster. But you had like a vampire, and you had like a creature,
a Gilman.
Yeah.
Style and a Frankenstein and an Invisible Man, a mummy, or
no.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I did. I love playing that game though.
Yeah,
but it was like it was just like Tekken or Street Fighter.
Cool.
That's really cool because I love Universal Monsters, so that would be awesome.
Well, and Japan got some really good other games that we didn't get in the States, but. Even Godzilla, we were really shorthanded when it came to the American releases of Godzilla games. But they had
Godzilla for the SNES.
Yeah, the Japanese versions were pretty awesome. But in this one you get Gezra that corners Mothra into the bottom corner there, and then
he's not hurting me at all.
No, that's the thing. It just annoys you. That's what it is. It wants you to play as Godzilla, I guess, but you got to power up Mothra.
No, it won't let me actually play Godzilla.
Yeah, but oh man, we could definitely go on for hours on this, and some of the greats that are out there. We're definitely going to have this conversation again, and take a little trip down memory lane on these things, and maybe get another console for us to get footage from and play. And this is not a Let's Play channel. I'll leave that to Michael to do some Let's Plays because I don't know. I don't have the patience, I guess, for it. Yeah. But you do some great work too on your channel. And I love that Mario 3 box that you got still with the challenge set graphic over it. And that's definitely a keeper for all time.
Absolutely. I'm never selling this stuff. No way.
No way. Yeah, it is priceless. So with all that out of the way, let's see if Eli has anything to add to the conversation. If he wants to take a break, look at the camera, tell the audiences a little bit your thoughts on retro games.
Honestly, I do think a fun thing, even though I played with this entire live stream, but
not practically.
Yeah. I enjoy them.
Challenging?
Yeah, very.
Too challenging?
That is too challenging, but sometimes yes.
They are not for the faint of heart, and they're definitely ones that are trying to get you to play again from stage 1. String, because you get so far into it and it continues, no lives left. You're going back to stage 1, and that is frustrating. And then they came out with games that you could save along the way. How could you ever play a game like Legend of Zelda without a save state in the game? You know, it's called save state now. Back then it was called battery save, I think, or backup, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And the ROMs where you can save it in the save state on the memory card, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, so we can put that away. That'd be the only way, in some ways, that I would finish any of these games, because they just frustrated me to no end sometimes. But the Kirby games, that may be another topic that we bring you back for, Eli, to talk some Kirby, because that kid is a Kirby enthusiast and Zelda and Minecraft, but we're retro, so Minecraft is
out of the water.
Yeah, anything past the year 1996, I guess. I don't know.
Minecraft was created in 2010.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that we're retro, so we're not of the Minecraft ilk. You know, it's just not our thing. You know?
Don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not for us to understand.
That and Fortnite or any of these other games that are out there, I just did not. I just don't know what to do with them. You know, even the new Switch games that are Mario ports, I love them, but I still go back to my classic Mario stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So cool. All right, we are gonna shut down here, and we're gonna get ready for some storms that are hitting Indiana tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a whirlwind. We'll see.
You guys stay safe.
Yeah, we sure
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you everyone that's out there in the chat who's been watching and enduring us taking this trip down memory lane. Thank you, Bobby, Parker's Imaginarium. We've got we had earlier Lola. Yeah, we had Godzilla Fan Freaks, Everett out in Arizona, and this was a lot of fun. And we hope people join. Like, subscribe, all of those great things. Follow us on Producer Eli, go.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
What's that?
/X.
I heard some people call it Twix.
And obviously YouTube. And all that.
And we are less than 2,000 subscribers from 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube. All thanks to you. We've got box days coming out. We've got monster trailers coming out. I have coming soon. I've been going down a collecting with the Ichiban show. Now that I know how to say that, Ichiban figures of Godzilla -1. So I have the Heat Ray version coming out soon. And we've got some live streams planned for the near future here. All kinds of great stuff here on the channel. So obviously follow us on all our outlets out there. And continue supporting us. We appreciate that. There is members only contact, but that is not anything that's required to be part of the chat or part. Love the support, and thank you, Producer Eli, for being Jedi, Big Brother Denver, and I hope we're still online.
I can hear you.
We're still good. We're still good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The storms haven't started yet, but I think the internet's telling us we need to close up here. Stick around, Michael, after the stream or the green room. We'll have our proper goodbyes. But thank you all out there for sticking with us, and we will catch you on another episode of the Monster Report Live. Adios.
Take care. Sayonara.